not the podcast you are looking for.
If you're looking for the same old content delivered by the same old people, you are on the wrong pod.
This podcast has life form. You are listening to Stache and Lash.
You're listening to Stache and Lash, the show where we talk about everything that unites us as Mexicans.
One living in the U.S. and one living in Mexico. The Stache and Lash Show. Is this thing on?
Welcome to episode 6. If you can't tell by the song, the music, we are talking about Squid Games. How are you? This is El Stache along with
The Lash. How is everybody? Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh my goodness. So today is a fun episode because this is something that we've been wanting to talk about for a while. And of course, we had other ideas and other things happen, but also wanted to give you some time to watch this show. We've been giving you some warnings. Spoiler alerts are going to come your way. So I was talking to G. As soon as I was putting this kind of music on, she was just kind of getting like chills, right? Like what do you feel when you hear this?
Oh my god, so much PTSD from my part. I mean, I'm still getting over it. Like, to the last minute, I was like to my seat, like, what? Amazing show. And yes, spoiler alert. And just in case you haven't seen it, which I don't believe you by now because it's everywhere. We're going to talk deep about the Squid Games. Deep. So yeah.
So G's gonna have the voice of the front man. All right.
Yes, exactly.
Turn around. Get back on your plane.
Welcome to Game 1.
All right. Well, G, this is exciting. Well, really, before we get started, this is your opportunity. This is your final shot before we start getting into this topic today. Your turn your opportunity to put pause, watch the rest of the seasons, all the episodes, come back, and then hear our perspective. And of course, we want this to be interacting, right? G, we want them to interact with us. Put in the comments. Let us know. Do you agree with us? Do you like what we like? Do you hate what we like? Tell us what's going on.
Did we miss something? Is there another clue? We're going to talk about a lot of things, like, of course, the show itself, but we're going to talk about also a lot of clues that were shown in the show that it could have given away a lot of things, but I think we were like so into specific characters or plots inside the episodes that we didn't notice, and we are going to break everything down in this episode. So yes, this is a final warning, people. Go watch it.
Final warning. All right. While you're making that decision, don't forget, follow us, subscribe to us, right? Hit the subscribe button down below, right there. G's pointing all over. It's going to be all over the scene. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell to get our latest episodes, as well as any information coming your way. With that being said, G, let's get started with this episode of
Squid Games.
I remember when I saw it on my trending page on Netflix, I was like, oh, okay. I saw the masks of the guardians behind the game, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. But then, like, all of a sudden, it was everywhere. Like, memes were all over the internet, on Twitter, everywhere. And I was like, okay, I need to watch this, like, right away. And I think it's not been even a month, or maybe a month, since it's been out. And it's still on, like, top 3. Yes, exactly. At least in Mexico. I know we have like different Netflix services. I don't know how to call it, but in Mexico, at least, it's a number 2, I think.
Is it?
Yes.
I think last time I checked, and it was yesterday, so I need to check recently. It was still around 1 and 2. Yeah, the 1 or 2 spot. And like you said, Mexico and the US, we have different shows that show or rotate. But this is one that's in both countries, including international. There's all over. Is
this a Netflix original? I don't know.
Yes. It's considered a Netflix original, but of course it's by a Korean film.
Korean Netflix. Yeah.
But Netflix, bought them out or bought whatever. It is a Netflix original show. So
Okay.
All right.
So yeah,
Well,
it's absolutely everywhere, and good or bad, a lot of good comments I've heard. Most of them actually. I think it's just one person that was like, I'm not sure, and I'm like, come on. But everyone I've spoken to is like, holy it's amazing. It's so traumatizing, and blah, blah, blah. So yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I'm pretty
no,
sure it's going to be out there for a while. Also, if you are looking for the costume or the
this
t-shirt
Halloween.
or yes, of course, in Amazon, you're welcome.
Oh no, it's all over. Actually, I was considering wearing that costume, but I'm already kind of wearing my costume for Halloween this year. I'm gonna be Sugar Skull, Day of the Dead. You like that?
Un
This is
charro.
the charro I'm gonna get. Okay. So this is how I found out about it. G. I was I'm an avid, just watcher of television and shows, and I saw it come up in my feed, and I'm like, what is this show? This is weird. And then I call my kids, right? I'm like, hey, how's it going? How's school? It's like, what are you doing? One of my boys is like, oh, well, I'm watching the Squid Game, and I'm like, what's Squid Game? And
How
I'm
old
like,
is he?
14.
Okay,
And I'm like,
he's gonna be fine.
he's my youngest too. And I was just like, okay, whatever. I mean, it sounds fun. And then I started seeing the memes, started seeing the comments. I'm like, what the heck is this thing he's watching, right? So then I'm watching it, and then I'm like, oh, this is freaking awesome. And then we started watching it, we got hooked, and I'm texting my son, oh my gosh, what a good show, And then my other son's like, I haven't seen it. My daughter's like, I haven't seen it either. I'm like, you guys are missing out, right?
Yeah.
But that's how I got hooked. And then of course you mentioned it, and then I think I was like 3 episodes in. You already finished it. And
I saw it in 2 days. Like, I'm not gonna let
Yeah.
anything or anybody spoil it for me because it was everywhere. I started seeing like the honeycomb images everywhere, and like, what is that? And then I go, oh, okay, it's from this. And yeah, I mean, we know people like to spoil things. So I was like, no, hell no. I'm going to watch it by myself.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let Twitter ruin this for me.
Hell no.
Hell no.
So that same thing. I was starting to watch it, and of course you already knew. So you're really good. Gee, I got to give you credit. I was like, oh, I think I have some ideas, and you're like, and you did a good job. So you are a good friend, my friend. I would be a horrible friend. I would be like, well, I'll give it away.
You would have gotten no, please don't. Please
I try
don't.
not to, but then I get too excited. All right, gee, I'm gonna admit it. I get excited. I will slip. So
When
don't
you
trust me.
asked that, I was like, I'm if I even like, he's going to find out. So I'm not going to say anything.
And that's what I need to do. Is I need to just like, you know what? I'm gonna just change the subject, because if we keep going, I'm gonna get all like, and then you're gonna be, like, mad at me, and
I
then,
know.
And then we're gonna have an episode of G mad at me, like, you ruined my life, and now I know, whatever.
It's gonna be just the mic like this because I'm not going to be in the show
You're
when
gonna give me
that
the cold
happens.
shoulder.
Yes.
Like, hey, Jay, either I'm here. I'm just not looking at you right now. Spoiler alert. So I thought it would be fun. Again, let's talk quickly about the premise of the show, and then we'll go right into some of the characters and what our thoughts are, who are favorite, who are not so favorite, right? And then we'll keep going from there. I think from there, then we'll go into the actual games themselves and talk about our impressions of each of the games, what we thought about them. And then we'll wrap up with some of the theories out there that we've been seeing, some that I've seen and I already was thinking about, but some that I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
And then from there, we'll get our predictions. What do we think? Because there's got to be a season 2, G. There's got to be. I mean, they left it open for it.
There's got to be. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Popular show. Everybody's hooked. Like, come on. You have them. Bring them in.
Yeah.
What's our predictions for this next season, right? So quickly, what the show's all about. It's an interesting concept, right? So it's all about it's in Korea, and it's based off these this game that they're using human beings to gamble on to see who's going to be the survivor of these games that are life-threatening. And every single person that is in this game is having money issues, right? They're either in they're at their final luck. They're desperate. I think they caught them when they're desperate. So they play with them to try to entice them to play. Of course, the first game, it just freaks them out. Then they finally just, money starts to money starts to show and starts to show their, that, oh my gosh, I might win this. And it just gets worse and it escalates. And I think every episode, G, you can say it gets better and better, and you're just going like your jaw just drops, right?
It gets better and better, but it gets worse. Like at times, I remember at times I was like excited for the games, but at the same time, I was like, people are dying right now. Like, what is it that makes it so exciting? And at times you are like in the perspective of the players, and like at the POV of the VIPs. We're going to talk about those guys later, but it makes you think, like trying to be in all perspectives of all the people involved in the games, players, VIPs, guardians, the leader, the policeman that got inside and saw everything. Like, yeah, it's crazy. It does get better and better. It's a very raw show. It's like very intense. What I like about it the most is how it plays with your emotions. Like, you can feel like a lot of things at the same time. Again, you're like, yeah, but there's a lot of money at line. But yeah, but those are people. They're people with families and lives. And yeah, so it's a very, very, very interesting exercise for everybody watching. We're going to talk about that later, but yes, it's a lot of emotions.
A lot of emotions, but also a lot of life lessons, or makes you start to think about life in general and where we at in society. For me, anyways, I can get pretty philosophical with these shows. Like, what are they trying to tell us? What's going on, right? All right. So here are the characters, and this is not all of them, but these are the main ones. These are the ones that really just resonated with me, that had a big, impact in the show. We can go one by one, or we can kind of talk about our favorite ones.
Oh my God, you're going to kill me because I'm going to destroy the names. And I remember I just like memorized the numbers of the player rather than the names.
I was horrible about the numbers too. It's funny you remember the numbers. The names are hard. So we'll do this, Chi.
I'm sorry.
Do the best we can of either saying if we can remember their name, the number, or just the old guy.
Okay.
Or the bully.
Exactly.
They also had titles. The bully, the best friend,
the guy with the tattoo on the neck.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, so these are the characters. So let's talk about, first of all, your favorite characters. Let's go with the positive, right? Which ones were your favorite characters from the show?
My favorite character, I think it was, what's her name? Sabayok. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Her. She was fearless, and I was like so sorry when. Okay, I'm not gonna spoil it right away.
Dude, they already get them. Yeah.
I liked her, and I mean, her female presence was very strong in the show. Of course, 456, our hero, kinda, and of course Ali. Ali was like my heart was with Ali all the time.
It was so sad. I agree with you. I would say my favorite character was Sabayak. Yep, she was definitely a strong female presence. Funny too to find out that this is her first acting job.
She's a model. Yes, she's a model.
She's a model.
And this is her first acting job. Yes.
And I remember too watching the show. I'm like, damn, she's really pretty. She just has like and she did a good job for her first acting. Then
very good.
Jihan for sure. I mean, he's got to be in there. Ali, I mean, come on, who doesn't like Ali? And that was effed up. What?
Heartbreaking.
Sung-woo did to him. But I think another one of my favorite character was Jun-ho, the police officer, right? Because he was just. I felt like it was like a James Bond type of deal where he was hiding, getting in there, trying to maneuver. He was uncovering it, and you were hoping to the end that he was going to expose everything, and of course we found out, right? It wasn't the case. By the way, I think he's still alive. I have a feeling because
of course he is still alive.
He got shot in the shoulder, right?
He got shot in the shoulder. Yeah, no big deal. Also, funny. I mean, after watching it two times, I saw and I was like,
wait a minute, it was like weird. Like when you see it a bunch of times and you start looking to things maybe you've missed the first time. If you remember, he had with him his cell phone all the time, and he was recording and he was taking notes and whatever. I don't know how many days he was there, but he had like the longest battery life ever, because at the last scene when he's in the cliff or whatever and taking calling his boss or whatever, he's like at 12% of battery, and I was like, dude, who gets like that time
I
left
want that phone.
battery?
I want that phone.
Exactly.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, I was sitting there going, he's in his blanket,
Exactly.
and taking I'm like, where is he plugging it? Did he bring his charger? You know what? Maybe that little, it felt like that little, room he was in, maybe might have had a charger we didn't know about. I don't know.
Maybe, but I was like, what? This is like 3 days
jealous.
later.
I think a lot of us were jealous. Like, what phone is that? I think the Koreans have the best phone. So,
sorry.
Those are my favorite. Now let's talk about before we go to our least favorite, or the ones we did not like. Let's go to the ones that I had ones that I switched. Like I liked and then I didn't like, or vice versa, right? You didn't like and you liked, right? So which characters that have did you have on that spectrum for you? Did you have one that you had?
If I'm saying that correctly, Sang-woo,
Sang-woo?
The one
friend?
with the glasses, the two-way teen, the friend, exactly, the one that betrayed Ali. Well, not betrayed really, because he played his game, but it was like so effed up, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that was cheating, right? Because it was like, hey, it was like let him win fair and square, but he basically cheated him. Yeah, he did.
And
I agree.
yeah, and from the first game, the second, the honeycomb one, when he figured the game out and he didn't tell Ji-hoon what it was about, and he was like, I'm picking the umbrella because this happened to me, and he was like, what? No, never mind. Exactly. Like, dude, he's your friend.
Yeah, man. I tell you. And you know what? I think what I like about that character to the beginning, right? Like I kind of like him, but then you're like, oh, what a jerk. Maybe he'll turn it around. He gets worse. Like he just starts to get this, like, he starts to get really dark. And then at the end, he pulls that hurt, that final, final move, right, to let his friend win and not call the game. So he was up and down for me, 100%. For me, another one, of course, was the man of the hour, Oh El Nam, the viejito.
001.
Yes, 001. Oh El Nam. He was such a sweet old man, dude. Like, you just felt so like he was just like, oh, hey, how's it going? I'm your best friend. Like, todo esto. Like, you just can't help it. There was a scene where you're like, he was all alone and nobody was picking him, and I was just like, oh, viejito, abuelito. And then, of course, it turns it around. He was the mastermind behind it all.
Yeah, and again, if you think about it and you go back and you start like connecting the dots, I mean, like, everybody in the show, or at least most of the players, were like about in the same age range. Like some, like maybe a little older, a little younger, but they were like all like young-ish, healthy-ish, maybe. And yeah, he was like the one, like, was like, why is he here? From the beginning, he said he was sick. Like he had like very little time to live, and at the end you figure he is the mastermind behind the Squid Games, and he was just having fun. So that's so fucked up by itself. Like I'm just having fun, man.
Like, I know. I'm like, I know what's gonna happen. I mean, and it makes sense now that you look back, and you're just like, okay, like he had an inside scoop of what the games were about, and now that you look back at it, we can kind of see, a lot of it. Like, oh yeah, like that was a clue, right? There was some clues along the way. But I think for me, that's effed up, right? The fact that he knew the whole time, the friend Ji-hoon, which by the way, Ji-hoon betrayed him in the marble game too, and he knew it was a psychological game. Yeah. All right, G. So that the viejito was definitely like a shocker for a lot of us, and one of those characters that you felt bad for. And then, then you like hated him because he was a mastermind. Of course, you said Sang-woo was one of them for you. Let's talk about the characters that we did not like at all the whole time of the show.
Oh my God.
That's easy. 101, the dude with the
Yeah.
tattoo
Daksu,
was a jerk. Yeah, a
but the
complete
tattoo
jerk.
Daksu was a jerk from the beginning, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I
Right.
think that I think him because I cannot really hate the leader, like the front man, because at the end of the day, I mean, he made a fair game. He made the games fair at some point, like when the doctor and the other guys were harvesting the organs and whatever. It
Yeah.
was like, no, you are an advantage of the other players, and that is not the point of the game.
Right.
So I mean, overall, the game is cruel.
Stepped up.
It's stepped up in every possible way. But in the game itself, now that you are inside the game, he made it like as fair as possible. So he was just like controlling everything. Like
Mhm.
he didn't have like much to be hated for at some point. Maybe at the end when you find out he is
Yes. But
June
it's such a
Kao's
small window. Yeah. when you find
brother,
out.
when you figure that he was a winner and in another
Yeah. Game.
year of the games, and he yeah, and maybe then you're like, but then again, he didn't kill him. He could have, but he didn't. And I'm pretty sure he knows he's still alive somewhere, that he survived, that
Yeah.
his brother is a badass, and of course he's going to survive, and he didn't want to kill it. Neither of them wanted to kill each other. So
Yeah.
I don't know. The only one I was like, oh my god, is he going to die soon? Is the guy with a tattoo.
Oh my
He was
gosh.
just
Yeah.
a
I
jerk.
think the reason why, and I had a feeling they weren't going to kill him off soon because you have to add a villain, right? And he was clearly the villain, getting his little crew together, the strong guys,
Mhm.
being ready. And then, of course, he just betrayed. The one that
Yeah.
I did not like
Like
was,
the bully, exactly.
yeah, I didn't like him, but I also didn't like me now, the other girl, the other one that was just like real crazy and wild and would betray, would kind of trade sides, right?
Oh, the girlfriend,
Yeah, the girlfriend,
the
the
girlfriend,
love
yeah.
interest. Yeah, she was such a she was a traitor. I mean, she was just looking out.
Yeah,
and
she was
kinda
like
playing
trying to
things.
get approval from anybody. Yeah.
So
And what I cannot hate her because I mean, yeah, she's a jerk also, but I really like, and this is what is really fucked up about the show also, that how it can play with your mind, because when she told the guy with the tattoo, again, I cannot
Yeah.
pronounce his name.
Daksu.
He said, if you betray me, I'm going to kill you. And he was like, yeah. He
Wait.
betrayed her.
It sounds like she's Mexican. Like what? Just kidding.
Oh my god.
Oh, I know. Don't mess with me. I'll
Don't
cut you,
mess
fool.
with us.
I'll cut you,
Don't
fool.
mess with us. And he was like, yeah, whatever. And of course he betrayed her. And on
she
game
killed him.
7, she had the opportunity and she was like, I told you, if you betrayed me, you're going to die.
That was crazy.
We all know what happened there. And that was, right there, I was like, yes. Yes, of course.
I know. When I saw it coming, when she was ready, I'm like, oh shoot, she's actually doing it.
She's going to do
Hell,
it. Yeah, she's going to
yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
So
about
that was
time,
it,
right?
101. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. All right, so the sympathy one for me, of course, I would say Ali is one of my sympathy ones as well, but also Ji Young, the one that was with
Oh my God.
Sabiyak, right? When they were in the game with the marbles, I was just
The
like,
marbles.
when they were talking about, we're gonna do this, and then they're like, oh yeah, that's right,
We
can't.
cannot get out of here together.
And
Yeah.
then they would talk again, and they'd be like, oh yeah, when we do it, oh yeah, we can't, right? It's
We can.
like, dude. And then of course the last one, she's like, bye.
Thanks for playing with me. Oh, that broke. But to this day, it gives me goosebumps. I cried like so much. It was so emotional.
That was
like
a strong scene.
she was like, hey, I have nothing left out there. Like, you have your brother, you have your mom.
Yeah.
I have nothing. And oh, that was like so painful and so emotional. I remember I was like crying my eyes out, and my husband was like, what's going on? Don't ask, you will get it eventually. when you see this episode. I was, oh no, it was so heartbreaking. So
No,
heartbreaking.
It was sad. It was crazy. Well, those are the characters. So we got to see again who our favorite were, who are, least favorite, but also our sympathy, and also at the same time who where we changed a little bit. Like, okay, I kind of like them, and like, oh, that person's a jerk, right? And what
Yeah.
have you. So they did a good job with the character development, and you're really invested in these characters. But other thing that I liked about the show, G, is I like the visuals. Like something about this scene here is our background right now, but just the colors, the vibe. Like, I mean, here is a little more graphic because there's blood. This is more like for the graphic. But during the actual going to the game, it was like it felt like it was a game of like Minecraft, right? Like it was like a video game. It was fun. Like, hey, we're going to have fun. I imagine the first time, I don't know if you noticed this, G, in the
We're going to have, yes.
And the show was kind of fun. They're like, where are we going? They would take their picture, and even you can even see them like smile, like, hey, this is gonna be fun. And then after that, every game after that, they're like, oh, this suck, right? It was crazy.
Yes. That scene when they're taking the avatars of every player, like you can even see like people like posing and like, hey, and oh man, and even the music that played right before a game, like this waltz. I cannot listen to that song again without thinking about the freaking Squid Games.
Oh gosh,
how they play with your mind. I gotta give props to Korean productions.
The music that they picked really messed with our minds. Like it was just kind of like it built up. They did such a good job that now when we hear them, we just can't get back to that time. And here's another one. And this is the first game, right? When you hear this, you remember the first game, G. So here we go. Ready? Creepy. So, of course,
oh my God,
red
so
light,
creepy.
green light. And I think when that song translates to red light, green light, like when she sings it. So that's when people start to realize this is real. Like people are dying, right? People are getting shot. Like that first two guys that took off running. And then
that first guy, and it was like, yeah. And that's where like everybody knew, like, oh shit, this is real.
He saw him fall down, and he's still going, "Get up, fool!" And all of a sudden, like, there's blood, and then as soon as everybody hit it, it's like a scene from Jaws. Pool, right?
And like panic like hit everybody, and that scene when a lot of players started to go into the back door. And of course they were still moving, so of course the shots went everywhere, and all the people that got the sense of the game were like freezing and what now and whatever, and it was like, hello, welcome to the game, welcome to game one. So if you don't freeze and if you don't follow instructions, you die.
Yep. Sorry, my friend. Be ready. So it was crazy.
And that's where we have the first glimpse of our old man, of our 009, because he was smiling the whole freaking time he was playing this game. And he was like so good at it because, and later I knew this, that he knew exactly all the lyrics of the song, of this mechanical doll thing, whatever. And he knew exactly where to stand and where to freeze and where to keep walking. And of course, he was the first one to finish the game. And what is this, my friend?
So this is showing that some people were right away caught on when the robot would look at everybody and target. He was not being targeted. So that was a clue.
But tell me something. You saw that the first time? I didn't.
I did not see that the first time.
Of course not.
So I missed that, but I went back and saw that and I go, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like you think about it, like when you go back, he wasn't, like a target, which everybody's green. He wasn't green all the way. And that was because they were protecting him. They knew that he was, Layer 1, the founder. Crazy, right?
Yeah. I mean, he knew the rules of the game. He knew how to play the game, but just to keep it extra safe, they didn't target him.
Yeah.
So he was like, you know how to do this, you know when to freeze, you know when to start running or whatever, but just to be extra careful, we're not going to target you.
Yeah.
So
and that's
he
why
was
he
of
was
course
smiling, like, hi.
Exactly, because he was playing
a game. And at the end, he said this. Though those were all games I enjoyed playing as a kid.
Yeah.
And that's what he was doing for the last time. Oh my god,
Another
I hate him so
clue,
much.
there is another clue, and I don't have an image of this, but you remember when the police officer was in the room with the front man when he was looking at the files?
Uh-huh.
If you look at all
Yes.
the files he looked at, it didn't have one. It went right to number
Yes.
2.
Yes. So when he was looking at the files of all the players in this game that was playing at that exact moment, he opened the files and 001 was missing. So that's another clue. I missed that completely.
And I didn't catch that either. And then when I go back, I'm like, oh yeah, that's another clue saying that he was probably playing these games not only this last time, he's probably been doing it a long time. Being a part of it. And
Maybe.
That's the only clue. I mean, that would be the only explanation of why he's missing. They don't want to show his face. Can you imagine if they saw his face, he would know, right away. But then of course we had
exactly. No.
Game 1, right? Game 1, and they all went back. They're freaking out.
Do you remember how many? Do you remember how many players were eliminated at the first game?
I think like half.
Yeah,
like 200,
right?
Yeah. That was insane. Honestly, when I saw that, I thought it was way more. It felt like a lot more people died. But I was just like, that was more than 200.
Yeah.
But half were gone, like that. And then I was, if I'm correct, it was right after that where, they all freaked out, and they're like, we want to get out of here. And then they put the vote. Then they put that vote thing, and it was number 1, right? The viejito who had the last casting vote and said no. What the
Yes.
fuck? Like, what?
I thought he was gonna say continue because he was like sick and he said like he had nothing left or whatever. And when he said no, I was surprised. Of course I was surprised.
Yeah. And then of course they went back home, and then I think it was all part of the strategy, right? For them to go back and be like, my life still sucks. And then of course the tempting of the money coming down, and I'm going that's like playing with them, man. And it's funny, it kind of sounds like a casino noise. It's like
exactly. And at the same time you get this ease feeling that, hey, I'm not making anybody come here. I gave them the opportunity, they voted to leave, and they came back. So it's not my fault. Hey, I mean, it's not my fault.
Don't get mad at me.
My conscience is clean. Yeah.
And I can die people. So they came back, and then this is when we got game 2, which was the honeycomb. And that was an interesting game because, again, I've never heard of this. I never tried this, right? But it's a very popular, treat that in Korea that they eat, and it's, basically sugar, right? Melted sugar in a way where they put a symbol, a sign, kind of what you saw there, right? Of the circle, the triangle, the star, and the umbrella. And then they had to cut that out. Now, this is where he didn't like one of the characters, right? His best friend, Sang-woo, because he knew, man. Like, dude, honestly, if I knew the game, I would totally pick the triangle. For me, that was probably the easiest one.
I think the triangle, yes, and the star, maybe the star because there's like the shorter lines, like I don't know. The circle is tricky. The circle is tricky, and the umbrella, oh my gosh. But so we have a glimpse in game 1 that the old man said that there were like children games. So when they got into this new scenario and they saw all the shapes in the wall, and the instruction lady said, hey, you have to make a line in front of each shape. You have to pick one and be in front of every shape. This is where I don't remember his name, the guy with the glasses. I'm sorry. He was like,
Sang-yu.
Sang-yu. I'm sorry. And he started like thinking, and he got it. And he got the game.
Yeah.
And he kept silent. I don't get it.
Yeah. He screwed Ji-hoon big time. He said, didn't tell him, even though he picked the umbrella, he had this face like, dude, don't pick it. He
had the chance of, hey, no, don't do that. What shape he picked?
He
A
picked
triangle?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh. The easy one. But of course, he got this one, which is hard because the whole purpose of this game is you have to be able to take the image out without cracking it, right? Without getting a crack in it, and that looks hard for sure. I mean, look at the handle. What if you were to connect this to like a Mexico tree? What would a Mexico tree be like this? If you were to say, hey, this is the Squid Game Mexico edition, what game would this be? Because I think we played Red Light, Green Light as kids as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty common. But this one is definitely unique to Korea. It's not like I would say like if they were to make a Mexico Squid Game, this would be like masapan.
Un mazapan. Yeah, I think a mazapan.
Masapan.
But that's tricky because mazapan
Falls
like it gets all crumbly and it's a
It's
mess.
like sand. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, like a concha. I don't know what would be this. Like who knows?
Please tell us if you think about a Mexican candy or something that can be
That is connected to similar to this one. Let us know. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
let
there's
us
one
know.
out there. G. I'm pretty sure.
there has to be.
So we have that. Of course, that was a crazy game. They all survived. The main characters.
The main character
But
survived.
then we get to the next game, which was, of course, the Tug of War.
Tug of
And it's
War.
another game, right? It was very popular both in Mexico and the U.S. And I think that was crazy about this. This is where this is where Duck Soo, the bully, betrayed his, girlfriend.
Girlfriend.
Because he knew the game, right? The doctor told him, "Hey,
The
we need
doctor
to get
told
every
him.
strong man in our team." Because they said, I think, how many total had to be there? Can you count?
10. I think there were 10.
You had to get 10 and recruit. And even when it came to Ji-hoon and Sang-woo, they were also with that same strategy. Mostly Sang-woo, right? The friend.
Yeah.
He's like, listen,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
recruit guys. We need some guys.
We just need buff dudes.
Yeah. We just need guys. Like, give me some men. And then, Sabayak did not. She brought in, Ji-young, the girl that she partnered with later. And then, of course, I think they had the crazy girl, too, maybe, in their team. Yeah, they had crazy girl, the one that was the girlfriend of Duck-soo. And, of course, then they had Il-nam, the viejito. So, dude, talk about disadvantage, right? We're just like, man, like, we're going up against all dudes. And we have, like, 3 girls, three women, and an old viejito. They thought they were disadvantaged, but they proved them wrong because they had the viejito. That's the wild card. He knew the game, right?
He knew the game. He knew the strategy. He knew how to get into the other team's minds and how to make it like a team effort, like overall, like even the positions of the players, like, hey, I need the woman in the middle and we need like this and that and we should just like do this and hold it, and it was all strategy and it all worked out. I mean, for the first part it worked out and they were like winning like easily, but I remember that it was this time with the other team like just pull through and I was like, okay, what's happening? What's happening?
And then, of course, they did what I remember doing when I used to play this game.
We're going to take 3 steps forward.
Yeah, I remember that. I would do that too, where we would be like, okay, we're going to let go for a second and let them fall.
And then let them fall and then pull.
And that's how they won. Yeah, that was awesome. But of course, he was another Easter egg. I don't have a picture of this, but they showed where the viejito could easily escape if he needed to, I think.
He was not chained to the rope.
He had the chain, but he didn't have the lock, I think. There was like a way that he can escape. So it kind of made sense now. First, I'm like, why would they put him at risk here? Like, if they did not make it. Yeah. He knew the strategy, but there's always that risk, right? And he
yes, of course.
They're like, oh,
imagine any other of your 9 teammates getting nervous or whatever, and even if you have the best strategy out there, there's that risk, and they had to protect him some way.
This was a cool picture too of the 2 best friends in the front. Like, they're working together. This is probably the best, I would say, out of the whole seasons. This is where they really connected at the best, right? Where they were at the best peak, and then they went downhill after that, big time.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Which is going to the next game, which was the marble game. This one was
the marbles
up, man. This one's like, dude, the fact that first, like, we're gonna partner, they're like finding their best friends. They had that couple, that couple. Dude,
A ver. to begin with, you by now know that this is a survival game. Like, if
Everybody's gonna die but you.
Exactly. If they're asking you to team up with somebody, would you team up with your wife? Or I mean, I at the beginning he was like, I'm teaming up with her no matter what. Yeah, but right now it's like one of you is going to die. Like, how can you live with that? You by now know this is a life or death situation. I don't know. I was just so heartbroken. But again, they didn't know, and they started making like teams. And do you think the friend knew? I keep destroying the name, and I don't remember the guy with the glasses. And that's why he picked Sang-woo. So that's why he picked Ali. Do you think he knew?
No, I don't think he knew. Because
so why did he pick him over?
I thought they were going to be partner up because they just tricked them, right? They just did a game of, hey, 10 on 10, strength, bronze. And he said, oh my gosh, we're going to now do partners. So now, Ali's strong, right? We saw how strong he was when he grabbed Jin-hoon, right? With one hand.
Yeah.
So he said, hey, you're strong and I'm bright, right? Sang-woo was like he's supposed to be went to university. I guess he was in finance, right? Really smart guy. That we can be great. No, I don't think he knew. I thought there was a strategy. Like we're gonna win
I'm
this
just
together.
getting the strong guy. I'm just pairing up with the strong guy. Okay.
And that's messed up too because he picked him over his good friend from a kid of Jin-hoon. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But then Jin-hoon had the chance to pick a few people, right? And he ended up going with the Vijito. Yeah.
He's gone bull.
That was so cute. And you know what? And I think I don't know. I think it paid off for him because I felt like maybe I don't know. It just felt like it was kind of like an omen where the Vijito's like, okay, I guess I don't know if there's a way to make him survive Jin-hoon at this point because it was so luck. But I feel like it was a good omen, right? That
I think also this was for sure the last game for the old man. I don't see him even trying to do the next game, the glass bridge
platform. Yeah.
So maybe that's why he was like, I'm going to try to do something to make him think he won over me because I was like delusional or had dementia or whatever.
Oh, maybe you're right because I was going to challenge you because that the girlfriend of Deok-soo, she didn't get picked, right? And then everybody thought she was gonna get killed because she didn't get a partner. And then of course when they go back and they see her alive, they're like, "What the fuck?" Like, why are you still alive? I wonder if they would have pretend that they killed the old guy because he was trying to not get picked. You saw he was in a corner. Like, who's gonna pick the old guy? Maybe they were gonna assume like, we'll kill him off or pretend we kill him off so he doesn't. Or if he did advance, he would know that he would pick the last number, right? Because he knew the game. So I think either way, I feel like he probably could have advanced, or they could have exited him out.
Yeah.
So,
but then again, do you see him doing the glass bridge and picking
being the last one? Yeah,
and picking a number.
Yeah, if he picked the last number, he can kind of see. I think he probably already knows. They probably told him the sequence. Maybe I don't know. I think he could have survived. Yeah, I don't think he could have survived the Squid Game though, because the Squid Game was about like kind of like you would wrestle.
Yeah, you have to be like really strong. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think this is again where we're going back to G when it came to these two amazing friends, right? This is the one that really broke your heart, man. I mean, just this image, you're like, she's looking at her like a puppy.
No.
Right?
Like no.
Oh, man.
So heartbreaking. So again, these two decided every team could play whatever game that they wanted. Just the only rule was that one of the players had to take all the marbles of the other player. So you could choose whatever game you wanted to. So these two were like, hey, screw it. We can just talk and play literally last minute.
Yeah.
And they just talked about life, about what they had outside. And it was so heartbreaking because she talked about the situation with her mom getting murdered, and she being in prison and abused and having absolutely nothing and nobody outside. And on the other hand, she was talking about her mother and going to pick his brother, and she had a purpose. She had a purpose, and they decided last minute to throw the marble and see who gets closest to the wall. And oh my god, this is so.
But she just went. Boom.
Yes,
Like,
yeah,
it's
she
right
just
there.
dropped it in front of her, and she just gave up. And the way she confronted her, and she was like, "Don't do this to me, don't do it like that." And she was like, "Hey, it's okay, I have nothing,
Yeah.
you have everything, and you should go," and blah 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 blah. And that last scene, man, when she's like standing by herself, and she was like, thanks for playing with me,"
Yep.
and she
that's
gets
it.
shot.
That's
And
all
she
she
gets
wrote.
shot.
And then, of course, we saw, oh man. And then the Ali scene where he got cheated by Sang Woo with putting rocks and having him, walk around like a tonto, pobrecito. And then, then he finally finds out they're rocks, and that was messed up. And then, of course, the last one with Jin Hoon and the Viejito. And that's where I told G, I'm like, I don't know, G, something's going on, because we saw everybody get murdered, but the Viejito, you saw them walk away. You didn't see them actually shoot him.
Okay, so C texts me, and I was like, "Hey, where are you at the Squid Game? Hey, I just saw this episode, and hey, but funny because the old man, we don't see the old man get shot. So that's weird." And I'm like, I'm not talking, I'm not saying anything. And later on, he was like, "I knew it." I knew it.
And that, and it's funny. Did you know as soon as he got that that letter about his, what was that? What did he call him again?
Gambu.
His gambu. As soon as you said, you're like, oh, you knew it, right? You're like, oh,
oh yeah, when he bought that rose from that lady.
Yeah.
And he saw the Squid Game card, and in the back of the card it was like, "Hey, see you here. At what time? Your gambu." I think everybody like.
And everybody,
like,
that's
everybody like gasped.
I caught it right before then.
Yeah.
All right, wrapping up. So then, of course, we're moving to the second and final game. That was, of course, the bridge with the glass, right? And you had these creepy, like rich people, right, that were just gambling. And it was for me. I just got like creepy, like when I saw them and how they were treating people like furniture.
It was disturbing.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. And they were,
and just maybe this is just me, but they were like so irritating to me, and it was so uncomfortable to see the VIPs. Yeah. They were such terrible actors also. I mean, they were like bad. Like, you see all the other characters and all these other reactions when they would somebody was like literally killed right next to them, and these guys were like disturbing those masks, like terrible. Like, I think that was kind of the feeling they want you to get from them. Like, they're like filthy rich, but they're like complete assholes. Like,
yeah, they can care less. They were making jokes and like, oh, haha, you picked the wrong number, and
I'm going with 69. Because it's 69. Haha. Yes. So
okay, Jenny, relax. All right.
But this game also was was disturbing. So just a little bit of back. They were placed in this huge room when there were a lot of mannequins with vests with numbers in it. So this was another kind of like strategy, like you had to pick a number from 1 to 16, I think. By then there were like 16 left. And yeah, the strategy was like, hey, so should I pick the first one, the middle, or the end? So everybody at first went to the middle numbers.
Yep, it's a good strategy. Go to the middle, and then you don't know what the first or last people are going to go. And of course, our hero Jin Hoon was going to go to pick number 1, and some guy said, "Hey, let me get it. I've always played it safe. I need to take a risk." and that did not work out for him.
Oh my god.
As
That
soon as he
was
started, these were,
terrible.
this was like, this was regular glass, right? There was, one that was really hard, like, state of the art, like not gonna break, and one that was just fragile and fall. And only
I think
three
that
survived.
I think number one got the first one right.
Yeah.
I think, and everybody was like, okay, and then number two, bleh, bye.
Yeah.
Bye,
Well, the
bye,
funny
bye.
thing too, the last, the fourth guy, right? Because the last three survivors were Sibayak, Sang-woo, and Jin-hoon.
Ji-hoon.
But there was this
Mhm.
one guy who was like, he was like, oh, he was like, I don't know, he worked in glass or windows.
Oh my god, he worked in a glass factory, and he was like, hey, you know what? I think I can tell if I look really close to the glass. I think I can tell which one is one, and it was going good. It was going great. He was like able to get really low and watch every one of the glass structures, and one of the fuckers in Vietnamese was like, hey, he knows how to play this. He knows how to play this. And yeah, the leader just decided to turn the lights out.
Turn the
he
lights
couldn't-
out.
Yeah.
What a jerk, man. So
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
two left. They had a fancy dinner, but of course, Sabayak.
Oh wait. That last sequence, just I have to put this out there, because do you remember that last sequence when the three of them just got to the other side and all the bridge like started to explode and the glass like kept hitting, and that slow motion scene, it was amazing.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
No, it was amazing. I think you got a good point, because that's when you saw Sabayak, when she was like, they were covering the face, and you can see in her face that she got something. She went like, oh, and I was like, ooh, she got a big old glass
She
in
got-
it. Like,
yeah.
I can tell by her face, right?
Yes.
So fancy dinner, and of course, she was already dying, but your favorite character, right, Sang-woo,
Yeah.
sliced her throat. And if you notice, a lot, when you go back, a lot of the deaths, or all the deaths, were foreshadowed, right? So the Daksu, the bully, he jumped off the bridge. Remember when he was being chased by the gangsters into the water?
Yeah.
He jumped off. He got pulled off the bridge by his girlfriend, right? Then you have Sabayak, right before the scene. She was putting a knife on this guy's neck to help his parents come back from North Korea. She got sliced.
Oh my god.
And then Sang-woo, he was trying to kill himself. He was trying to commit suicide, right? He was sitting in the tub, if you can recall, wet in a suit.
Yeah.
And in the final scene, he was wet in the suit in the Squid Game, and then cut his throat. He finally committed suicide. He was going to commit it.
Oh my god.
All of those were foreshadow, right? And even Ali, if you can even look at it, he stole the money from the main boss when he ran.
Yeah.
He also
Yeah.
got cheated by Sang-woo, by the trick he played on him.
Oh,
Foreshadow.
there you go. Oh
That's
my
crazy,
god,
right?
that's awesome.
And that leads
That's
right to the
awesome.
Squid Game, right? It was the two best friends, and exactly what happened. Sang-woo, pretty much killed himself to let Jin-hoon win. And again, foreshadow, covered all wet in his suit, and then of course he killed himself to allow his friend to win. Foreshadow, all those foreshadows. Isn't that cool?
That's super cool. This is the first time listening to that, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go.
Couple other things just to kind of put in there. It was interesting to see the shapes of each of the guards, right? We kind of noticed that the circles were like the workers, the triangles were the soldiers. They had the rifles and guns, and then you had the square was like the managers, right? They're the ones that would be the ones managed. So that was pretty interesting how they did. It also looks like the PlayStation remote controls, people were saying, right?
Yeah.
It's a game. So all right, to wrap up, there was some clues along the way. We saw this. The other games were on the wall. We didn't know that until the beds were being moved out. But I don't think that mattered, right? You can't really prepare as much for those games, especially when it comes to the glass one. Who cares? Like, I know the game, but I don't know the glass, right? We don't know.
Exactly. I don't know there's going to be glass. Yeah. And the tug of war, I mean, there's a rope, but you don't know there's like
then you're
cliff.
gonna die. I mean,
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
you're gonna die, but you don't know. Yeah, I think there could be some strategy there. Then of course,
again, these.
Then it'd be Hito when he peed his pants. A lot of people were catching that his bottle was empty, so he didn't really pee his pants. He just faked it so he can look
just
weak.
Faked it.
Yep, so he can look
Oh
weak.
no.
And then the last thing,
no.
actually two more things. In the when they had to choose between the blue and the red, they were saying if he would have chose red, he would have became one of the like soldiers or workers. But since he picked blue, he became a player. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was
No
one of the theories.
way.
And then if you look at it, when they showed the image of all the people that were there trying to, that were the players, all of them picked blue. So when you look at that
All
video
of
when
them
it shows
picked
them,
blue.
and the
But-
last scene when he goes
Uh-huh.
back and he sees him, remember when he saw that guy in the train, he was gonna go and stop him?
Yeah.
He picked blue también. And he was playing.
So that's why he was like, no.
Mhm, yeah.
But okay, I can see that, but okay, so but there were like really, really creepy also. Like, do you think there would be like people like picked red and would have been like, hey, I'm not shooting anybody, or
I don't know,
like
because you noticed that guy. Remember that? I think those soldiers were there against their own will. I felt like they were kind of also
do you
like
think
that guy
that?
who took his mask off and how they shot him.
Yeah,
Remember in the honeycomb game? Yeah,
yeah.
I think
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were also kind of like I don't know. I feel like they might have been there against their own will. Who knows? Also,
Yeah,
a theory, another theory, Lash, is that they're saying that this salesman is probably the Vijito's son, because the Vijito
Son,
mentioned a few times he had a son. He
Mhm.
might be the one taking over the games, so that can happen.
Okay,
But another theory is they thought that Jin Hoon might be his son, because
that's crazy.
yeah, Jin Hoon did not like milk, and the Vijito said, "Hey, my son doesn't like milk. He likes chocolate milk." And then when they were in the marble game, they both recognized the layout. They're like, "This looks very familiar." So it might be his son too. So we
Oh
will
my
find out.
God.
Isn't that crazy?
But he
Um,
would have known. He would have tell him at the end, like in his deathbed. He was
I'm
like,
your
"Hey, and
father."
by the way, I'm your father."
Jin Hoon, I'm your
Right? I mean, it
I
makes.
guess so. Maybe it was a salesperson. I think that's my theory, is that the salesperson's the son, and he's gonna take over for if we have a season 2, which I strongly believe, because
Yeah.
Jin Hoon was on the phone and he took off and he was about to take off, and then he goes, "Hey, get on that plane," and he's like, "Nope," and he comes back.
Oh my God. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure I'm not the only one. But I'm sure when he called and the other side was like, "Please say your name and your," I don't remember what else they asked, and he gave this name, and it was like, "Dude, get on the fucking plane." Like,
Yes.
what are you doing?
I know,
Like,
dude.
and my question is, do you think he wants to play again, or he just wants to take the game down?
And I
Because
think
at this point, okay,
yeah,
some background. So he won, of course he won, and he is filthy rich now. And they fast forward to 1 year later, I think. Oh, and his mom dies, unfortunately. His mother dies. And he like literally has like nothing. His daughter moved to the United States with the mom and the family, and the mom died. And he was just like left with a ton of money, and he didn't spend any of that money. He and picked up the brother of, oh my God, what's her name? I'm sorry.
Sabaya.
And she picked him up. Yes, she picked him up and left him with with the mother of the smart one,
Sang-woo.
the number 2.
Sang-woo.
Yes. Um,
Number
and
2.
he was like, "Please look after him. Please look after him." And yeah, he left with a huge suitcase of money, and he was. What I think is that he was leaving to the United States to be with his daughter,
Of course, yeah.
but because he was at the airport, and it was like passengers to Los Angeles, blah, 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 and I think he was going there. But he had second thoughts, and he called. And I don't know if he is joining the game again, or if he's trying to join as a VIP, or if he's trying to bring down the games. What is he doing? So that's why I think there will be a season 2.
And I think I have a feeling that he's gonna team up with Yoon Ho, the police officer. So I think he's still alive. They're gonna partner up, and they're gonna go after them. But I think there's another possibility. They could do another episode on the frontman story and go back and how he became the frontman. That's a possibility. Also, in the show, they preface that this happens in other countries también. So there can be another season not only in Korea, but could be in US, could be in Mexico, right? We don't know. Creepy.
Imagine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, my gosh, time flew by. So we're looking forward. Please make a season 2. We want to talk about it. We want to see it because we want to be creeped out. We just love this stuff. Make it a season 2, please. We'll come
PTSD. 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 Welcome to Game 1.
This is the end of our episode, everybody. Aquí el Stache along with
the Lash. Thank you, everybody.
All right. We'll see you until next time. Hasta luego. Bye-bye.
Stay spooky. Bye-bye.
Later, yo. All right, let's do our pictures. Such a nerd.
Yes.